Are you ready? Maybe this is cult behavior.
Don't want to miss that.
So that was pretty fun yesterday afternoon.
Oh, wow. Yes, sir.
It was sort of intense. And I don't want to overdo the talking part, but I sure love it. And there's sort of another major thing I want to get into.
All right.
And now would be like,
Go.
now would be like a good time. And then we can bend over and do free form and
Yeah. Perfect.
meditate. But again, this sort of circumstance doesn't come around that often, and like-minded tribal members, brothers and sisters, whether you agree with everything or not, just the fact that you sort of stay open to discovering whatever the truth happens to be. That's what you want, remember. What is the truth here really? What is the truth here really? You just want to be consistent with the truth, because if you're not, you're going to be bumping up against it. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Life isn't suffering, but life as we live it sure is. So let me try on this one. And I've talked about it before, but it just still feels so brand new. It's about the word infinity. I've been using the word a lot. We used it a lot yesterday. The infinite. The fourth dimension is another way of saying the infinite. In terms of the four dimensions, again, just the way it's making sense to me, circles within circles. And the fourth dimension is like a circle without the circle. So it's like infinite. It's the not finite context in which everything else is happening. And so I talk about it as the fourth dimension, but really there's only one dimension, really. See, that's cool. There's really only one infinite place to be. One dimension. But talk about it as the fourth dimension, as a pointer towards the more than what we're currently experiencing. Now, when I first heard the word infinite, or the first time I heard someone define it, the definition they used was 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. You know, like unending infinities. And so infinite, with that definition, was based on affinity as being the basis. But the word infinite actually means not finite. Finite is anything with a border or a boundary. Like the iPhone is a finite form. It's sort of like I was trying to say yesterday, forms could only be happening because it's floating in formlessness. Forms are happening within formlessness. Clouds float in the sky. The sky is a pretty good analogy for formlessness, for the not finite context. The sky is not a thing, and yet it's really there. And the fourth dimensional context of conscious being is not a thing, it's the place where all the things are happening. It's the sky in which the sky and universe is happening. Consciousness, mind, the infinite conscious context of harmony. And so infinite actually means not finite. Forms are finite. Anything with a border or a boundary is finite. Now, if there is such a thing as the infinite, and I'm saying there is, then the not finite context, if there is such a thing as the infinite, then there's nothing other than the infinite for the infinite to be in conflict with. There's not like the infinite and then the anti-infinite. There's the infinite only, which means that the feeling tone of the infinite is calm, is unconflicted being. The ease of conscious being. There's even a really cool book called The Ease of Being. And that's what they're trying to make reference to. The ease of the context in which everything is happening. The unconflicted context of conscious being. Infinite consciousness, mind. All with capital letters. So the feeling tone of infinity is calm. Therefore, the truest thing about you, the truest thing about me, the truest feeling tone about anything within the infinite, the truest feeling tone about you is calm, ease, unconflicted being. When you have a clear experience about the truth of who you are, you'll feel the calm of unconflicted, harmonious being as being the truth of what you are. In fact, that's how you begin to suss out the fact that the infinite is calm, is peace, because you'll start feeling it right there where you are. The truest.
Say that again. Please say that again.
Somehow I will.
Will you? Okay.
The truest feeling tone about you is calm, is ease.
Yeah.
The feeling tone of infinity is calm, unconflicted being. Therefore, the truest thing about you or anything within the infinite context is calm, unconflicted being. It's hard to say it again.
No, but you did it. You did it.
And so I just have insight into that. The truest feeling tone about you is calm, unconflicted being. The ease of being. Therefore, and this is the part that's sort of hard to take at first. It's not hard to take once you get the sense of it, but it's easy to get into a guilt trip about this. Any form of dis-ease that you're experiencing is therefore the evidence of a conflicted mindset on your part. Not as a guilt trip, but just as a clear statement of, oh, wow, the reason I'm experiencing disease is because there's something in my mind state that's misunderstanding things. The basic misunderstanding is that you made yourself. But somehow it's up to you to duke it out. But again, it's like you only exist because the all is being you. And the insight is the feeling tone of the all is calm and unconflicted being. And therefore, and you'll have hits of congruency with this, therefore the truest thing about you is calm, ease, health, unconflicted being. Any form of dis-ease is the evidence of a conflicted mind. Hear that without going into a guilt trip about it. Oh, it's a conflicted mind. Therefore, the thing to do, to the best of your ability, like I'm saying this because this seems like the most hopeful remedy, rather than just feeling like you're a victim of various diseases, which is what it seems like. The hopeful remedy is, as fast as you can, scamper back into the feeling of peace. And then desire healing. Like right in that moment, just like, to the best of your ability. And especially when you're experiencing this, you'll be glad you had practiced your meditation a lot. And that you've done your asana a lot, because it just helps you slide back into the feeling of peace. To the best of your ability, as fast as you can, slide back into the feeling of peace. The ease of being, rather than dis-ease, dissonance. Slide into the feeling of peace, which is like right there where you are. It's the truest thing about who you are. And then desire healing. And right in that moment when you desire healing, all these little reasons about why it's justified for you to be experiencing whatever you're experiencing will start popping up into your mind. Oh, I'm suffering from this because it's in my genetic history. My mother had this. Yeah, of course I'll have this. It's my white man lineage. It's my black man lineage. It's my European lineage. I broke my leg. It's going to take 6 weeks to heal. What can I do? Watch the little reasons that come up in your mind that justify why you're sick. They're smart. They make a sense. And to the best of your ability, put a comma in your commentary right then and have insight. Oh, no, really, the truest feeling tone is the ease of being. Stop talking yourself out of it. That's partly why I'm saying, the simple way to think of this is stop thinking. Because most of your thinking is just justifying the storyline that you're suffering from. Slide into the feeling of peace, desire healing, Watch all the little sentences that go through your mind that justify why you're sick and why you're going to continue to be sick and why it'll probably get worse. And then you'll die. And that'll be pretty horrible too. And then, that'll be sucky after that. And you just start saying all this stuff, and it happens really fast. And right in that moment, you're writing the script. Get yourself to zip it. And realize, and this is sort of like the big point, the justification for healing is that you're not actually subject to your human genetics. Yeah, you're predisposed to whatever your parents had, your family had. There's a truth to genetics based on your third dimensional mindset that we're coming from. There's a truth to genetics. But if you're going to start believing in genetics, and yeah, go for it, push genetics to the source of genetics. The source of your genetics is not your parents, not your grandparents, not their parents, grandparents. Your real DNA is G-O-D. And again, just tattoo that on your brain. Your real DNA is G-O-D. Your real DNA is G-O-D. My real DNA is G-O-D. I don't really know what that means, but it's that's feeling so true. And I've had insights into that. And God means love, I think. It means unconflicted being, the ease of being. What you're really susceptible to is not your grandparents. What you're really susceptible to is whatever the truth of the all is. And again, that's why the inquiry is, what is the truth here really? Because every time you ask that, what is the truth here really, you de-energize what you've been thinking up until now. And you open yourself up little bit by little bit by little bit to whatever the truth happens to be. Now the fear is that the truth is just going to condemn you, convict you. And if the truth were horribleness, if the truth is something ugly, then as you had a clearer and clearer experience of the truth of your true nature, you start feeling worse and worse and worse and having a clear hit of your ugly nature. Luckily, that's not the case. But again, the fear is that you're going to be had. If the truth gets exposed, you'll be had. But actually, if the truth gets exposed and you allow it, you'll be free. You're free anyway. You're free to think whatever you want. But the more you shut up in there and you let the truth register in your mind, you'll realize that, wow, you're susceptible to whatever the truth of G-O-D is. And you'll increasingly have hits that, wow, the true nature of things is love. It is love. You are safe. You're not actually in a hostile environment. You're in the middle of the context of harmony, actually, thinking that you're in a hostile environment. And you're with other people who are scared, and so they're acting like stupid. And so you got to deal at the level that you find yourself in, and yet increasingly start coming from this bigger perspective. And so your real DNA is G-O-D. Your real DNA is G-O-D. Let that be the justification for healing. And just watch how you argue with it. But be aware that all of the little arguments that come up are your assessments, things that you think are true, but they're also the world assessments that we're living in at the moment. And that as you clear it up a little bit and a little bit, you're clearing it up for everybody. If you get clearer and clearer that your real DNA is God and that so is everybody else's, that's just going to like exude that out into the psychosphere. And again, we're right at the point where like globally people are going to start waking up to this. People are waking up to this. And you've probably noticed, like the older you get, everyone's just always talking about their diseases. You know, yeah. And, you know, why it's going to be like that and why it's justified and how horrible it's going to be. Just get yourself to, like really, just zip it. What is the truth here, really? I mean, yeah, that makes sense. But this other thing starts making more sense. And then slide into the feeling of peace to the best of your ability. Peace, remember, is unconflicted being. In my book, the first sentence is, imagine a spinning top. Stillness, which is another word for peace, is like a perfectly centered top that's spinning so fast and so perfectly centered, it appears motionless. Om. If you just chant Om to yourself, that'll help align you more. That's the reason, that's the technique often. It's a sort of a mechanical way of getting yourself back online. Stillness is like a perfectly centered top spinning so fast it appears motionless. Stillness is actually, therefore, a higher energy state than what we're accustomed to. Most of us are not perfectly centered and not spinning at full speed. We're off-center and spinning erratically. But at least I'm alive. You know, and you imagine stillness as the top tipping over. A lower energy state. And when someone dies, you even say, may they rest in peace. And you sort of like it's sort of like the wrong image. Stillness is a higher energy state. Peace is a higher energy state. Like it's more fun. It's like it's better than conflict. Unconflicted conscious being is a more awesome experience than conflicted conscious being. And so the feeling tone of infinity is ease. Dis-ease is the evidence of a conflicted mind. Don't judge yourself. Use it as the clue. Okay. Now, slide into the feeling of peace as fast as you can. The healing will begin to happen right in that moment. And then you'll go, nah. And you block it. But then you go, maybe. And you start to feel it again, and then you go, nah. Maybe, nah, maybe, nah, maybe, nah. Maybe, nah. Maybe, yeah. No, yeah. You know, wah, 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 wah. And so, like, especially where it's easy, get familiar with the feeling tone of infinity, the peace of your being. Do it where it's easy. Do it here as much as you can. That's why we're doing this. You know, you pull out of your normal life cycle, you come to a beautiful spot, you let other people do the cooking, you get an extra blanket so you're not freezing. Luckily, the sun came out today. But you know what I mean? Like you come here in order to like, what's the word? To marinate in the peace of your being, the peace of being to the best of your ability. And you do it in the new now that you find yourself in, and it's simply a matter of just relaxing. Okay, so I think that's a really interesting concept. You're not susceptible to your human genetics. You're susceptible to whatever the truth of the all is. The all is life only, ongoing eternalness. Therefore, that's the truth about you.